Andrew, doing a piece on different riders and their techniques on climbing long climbs compared to climbing like the short, steep climbs. How do you tackle the longer climbs with your RPMs, looking at your watts, out of the saddle?
For me personally, I've always preferred the longer climbs. I'm a little smaller guy, and the shorter climbs, you know, some of the bigger guys can get over them and punch you. I mean, I think everybody has their own style, but for me on the longer climbs, I just try to settle in and ride it as smoothly and consistently as possible, and generally keep a little bit of a higher cadence, and I mean, pay attention to eating and drinking and all that stuff.
Well, I think on a day with long climbs like today, it's pretty important to really pay attention to your gear selection. Today I'm running a 28 in the back for the first time this week, and I think it's important for me at least, to spin rather than mash a big gear, just because I think it'll save your legs over the course of a day where, you know, on a day like today, it's a 5-hour day, but 3.5 of those hours you might be going uphill.
And where we live in Colombia, more or less everyone, we have at least the shortest climb is 1 hour. So we're supposed to do really well today, you know, because you are climbing, for example, today 1 hour climbing, in the last 10 minutes, you can finish empty.
And then you go backwards.
And then you probably did 90% of the climb really well, the last 10% you drop.
Yeah, for me the most important thing is to go as first rider off the peloton into a climb, that I can go my own speed uphill, drop a little bit, and sometimes I drop out of the bunch, and then I just try to hang on a little bit behind the peloton, try to come back in the downhill. So actually it's every day like this. So I drop, I come back, I drop, I come back, I drop, I come back, and sometimes I don't come back and I sit in a gruppetto.
I've taken to shifting around on the saddle a little. You go forward a little more, kind of almost towards a TT position. You use different muscles. You scoot back on the saddle. You engage different muscles. So and then you stand. So you really have 3 different muscle groups you can use on a climb, and it kind of keeps everything fresh rather than staying in one position. And shorter climbs, I mean, when you're just going full gas, generally you're standing.
Typically, shorter stuff for me, especially being a little bit smaller guy, I'm out of the saddle just because it's a higher power effort.
I prefer to go on the saddle, always on the saddle, and between, I'm not really high cadence, but I try to go in 80, 90 RPM. For example, my teammate Atapuma and Duarte, they are really 90% more or less. They don't use high slow cadence like the first Colombian. They always use high big gears. They try to use more slow gears.
I think the most important thing is to find your own rhythm. Doesn't matter how fast it is, but if you try to fight on a long climb for a wheel to stay in there, and then it's possible that you just explode there, and then you go even slower. So I just try to sit on my bike and go for my own speed.
I'm here with Lauren Rhodes here at the Amgen Tour of California, and you pretty much are the voice of the peloton. Tell me a little bit about what your role is in the race and how you get all the information that you get.
It's all secret. No, as a race radio or radio tour, I get information from various sources, from the officials on radios, from the caravan radios, kind of synthesize it all and then distribute it to the teams and the media and anyone else who cares to listen.
And then do you gather that information yourself and then send out what you think is what the teams need to know? And then are there other radios in there that only the commissars are listening to compared to what the information that you get?
No, pretty much I'm listening to everything, and I'm able to report out both the time splits that the commissaires are running or that their information motors are running, and then being able to give that information to the team. There's a protocol and order of what is the most important thing to put out there. So obviously if there's a crash or incident where we need immediate attention from medical or for teams, if riders need support like wheel changes or things like that, we're calling them up. Without radios from the teams these days, they're relying on my call to get the teams the information they need about a rider needing a front wheel or rear wheel, and as opposed to they used to be able to talking to their jersey and say, I need a rear wheel, now they're waiting for us to be able to identify that and call the team up.
And with all the different teams here, different languages are spoken. So what's the official language, or how does that work?
So officially from the UCI, I think all races need to be done in French and the language of the country, so that in here we're doing it in English and French. In theory, that if a team doesn't speak English, then they should be able to communicate in French.
And when you communicate with them on race radio, do they have the ability to be able to talk back to you and ask like a repeat of the numbers or tell you to speak louder?
Absolutely not. I get mad at anybody who does that. It's really for one-way communication. Compared to most radio channels where there's a lot of two-way communication, I am the only one that rules my own airway. So
you do rule the airways, yes. And you are known as the voice of the tours. Tell me a little bit real quick, how did you get into this? I mean, when was your first gig and how long have you been doing it?
And my first bike race was in 1986 in the Coors Classic. And I've worked races and operations and other roles, and then ended up working as a race radio or radio tour in a Tour de Trump one year. Got off the plane and they said, "You speak French, right? We need somebody to do this thing. You're going to sit in a car all day." And so that was kind of my first gig was Tour de Trump.
And if you had a choice of any other kind of job here at the Amgen Tour of California, would you pick anything else?
It's really, I'm in a great role. I get to be able to see a lot of what's going on. It's a lot of work during the race, but not a whole lot before or after. So I like my gig.
Chris, another long, hot day with a lot of climbs. That lead rider almost stole it out from under everybody's nose. Are you just sitting back there just laughing a little bit?
Yeah, it was impressive. He had a great ride, there's no doubt about it. Amazing how fast we were coming into the finish too, the last 15K. And so yeah, he was unbelievable. I mean, I actually had a little bit of good legs there in the finish too. Got a little boxed in though, and had to tap Roy with the bars a little bit, and that cost me some speed, but it wasn't for the win anyway, so who cares?
Well, obviously it's a positive sign, feeling better than yesterday. We're going into tomorrow. You're about 2 minutes, 50 seconds back. Hail Mary and kind of go for it, or are you satisfied with fifth on GC, or do you do everything to win?
You do everything to win. I mean, it's a lot of time to make up. I don't think I got the legs like last year. They're not bad though, but the time trial really made it difficult. But yeah, you just throw it all in, go for the win. Why not?
Well, seeing what just happened today with how much work the Garmin Barracuda team had to do to just reel in one rider, maybe a positive sign for yourself, not for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be hard for those guys when we go up the first part of Baldy at the beginning of the stage. Maybe I can get lucky and get into a good sized break or something. So we'll see. Certainly Garmin has a few different cards to play. I'm sure they'll try to slip them into the move, but that'll actually take some more energy out of them too. So really, are they racing for Zabriskie, or are they racing for Danielson or Talansky? So if they use Talansky and Danielson early on the stage, then that might wreck them for the finish. But if they don't, then of course they're going to have to chase really hard. So it's really, they're in a real drama there, because Zabriskie hasn't shown that he can climb that 40 seconds or whatever it is to TJ. And of course everybody now is really worried about guessing. Nobody's seen him ride that good in a long time. Now he is, and we all know he's a class act.
Yeah, no, exactly. So an ever-changing game plan.
Absolutely. It's going to change all the time.
Thank you.
Dance again around the outskirts of Los Angeles and LA.
Sebastian, you planned this out, you got up there. How does this feel for you to be able to keep that KOM jersey today?
I didn't even feel like I was riding. It was like somebody else was riding for me. It was just a surreal experience today, climbing and getting those points. I'm out of words right now.
I'm sure you thought about this for a couple nights, and so now it's kind of played off. One more day to go, but I'm sure it's going to be a different winter, so you must be extremely happy for you and your team to be able to keep this jersey.
Yeah, I mean, the team was behind me 100%, and I owe it all to them. I just had to sprint at the line, but they did everything for me.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice job. There's a lot of others that, you said about losing the weight and it's maybe sacrificed on your time trialing to your climbing ability. Do you feel that you're still a better time trialist or a climber at this point?
I think I found a pretty decent balance. I haven't weighed myself for a while, but I think I'm at like an ideal weight, whatever it is.
A lot of people have been talking about Haysink as the most dangerous or Van Garderen. Who do you see as the most danger for tomorrow on Mount Baldy?
Yeah, definitely those guys. Guessing TJ, I think Peter Velez could do well, but I still don't think you can count Horner out. Although I think, man, that guy must have stock in Coca-Cola. Dude's drinking like 20 Cokes a day. And so far, myself, Talansky, Danielson, none of us had to lift a finger because the other guys are so strong. Like Heino got in there and pulled. Everybody pulled. What's the name? This altitude's killed my brain cells. We got Alex Howes, Nathan Haas, Jacob Ross, all those guys. They're amazing. Tom Peterson. I mean, they're just super strong guys, so we don't have to use our other strong guys. I think tomorrow I could be better. Today I was, it's just a really early morning, a long transfer, not a lot of sleep last night. So, that kind of stuff. After a big effort, not a lot of sleep, you kind of feel a little, sticky today. But I think tomorrow could be better. Funny part today, I don't know if I should say this, Jens. Jens came up to me and said, "No matter what they say, I believe in you, Dave." So that kind of gave me a boost of morale, actually.
One more time for Ted Zabriskie.
What does he need help with? Excuse me for a minute.
Welcome to Race Radio from Stage 6 of the Amgen Tour California. I'm Joe Lindsay. I'm here with Frankie Andreu. Today's stage was one of the big mountain stages in the race. The riders went 116 miles, over 4 KOMs, and technically it's a mountaintop finish, but it wasn't quite uphill.
Well, uphill enough. A fantastic stage. Everybody's expecting a group sprint, but Sylvain Georges from AG2R took off at like 126 kilometers into the race of 128K and just motored. Unbelievable ride. Chapeau.
Chapeau, absolutely
to
chapeau.
Monsieur George. And I thought he was going to get caught. Garmin was chasing, and 20K to go. He had 3 minutes and 40 seconds. And it was coming, but he was just tapping on the pedals. He wasn't slowing down.
He was tapping on the pedals. There was definitely concern or discussion after the race that some of the time gaps hadn't been adequately communicated and all of that, but still, I think they're just watching him ride the way he was riding. I don't know that they were going to bring him back even if they had good gaps. Those guys were riding hard, and so was he.
Tailwind, and they were going super fast, and that of course, helped him.
Absolutely.
George has had a little bit of a tailwind, but to be out there all day, dropped all his breakaway companions, a fantastic ride. Super exciting for us because we didn't know what was going to happen. Was he going to stay away, get caught? And then the group sprint, Sagan was second, Velits was third, and you mentioned he got a 4-second time bonus.
Very smart sprint by him, picking up a little bit of time bonus.
But
moves
it's
into
always
fourth
different
overall.
when you're sprinting for second.
Oh,
some of the other guys get up there and they don't get up there. But big win. So, Sagan has 4 of the 6 stages. SRAM has won 5 of the 6 stages. Now what's going to happen tomorrow?
And just a small note on AG2R, as of today, they would have tied the record for the longest winless streak in pro cycling history for a team, and they broke it not once but twice in one day as Sebastianino on one stage of Circuit
Today was the day?
Today was the day. Dang. So 2 in one day. They definitely broke through in style.
Nothing like getting the monkey off your back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
But I don't think they're going to get another one tomorrow because tomorrow's stage is really tough. Yeah. It's short. It's only 76 miles, 78 miles long, but we go over 3 categorized climbs, 2 category 2s, and then the OR categories finish atop Mount Baldy, where, it's all coming down to this.
No, it is all coming down to this. The Glendora Mountain climb, fine. The whole second half of the race is all climbing. Levi, he's going to have to go out there, try something if he wants to win. I got a feeling he's just riding this race now for fitness. Right?
I think so. Yeah.
Horner has to attack early, and then the other guys are all going to sit and watch. We've talked about it a dozen times. TJ, Talansky, Danielson, Zabriskie, Hastings, Velits, they're all going to have to wait till that final steep section, final 6-7 kilometers. And, the race is going to come down to seconds. And there's only 39, 34 seconds separating these guys right now. There's no time bonus at the finish.
Right.
So whatever happens out on the road, it's going to be very easy to figure out who takes over the lead and who doesn't. I personally, I think Zabriskie has good climbing legs, and I think he can be there.
Yeah, talking to people, obviously Zabriskie isn't really on people's minds, at least in the broader public, for a guy who can defend this. But talking to people within the race, he's a good climber, and on a good day, he can stay there. Brian Holm told me that he thinks that Chris Horner will definitely be going for a stage win tomorrow. Another name that he mentioned to watch was Robert Gesink. Gesink could definitely be going. He's up there. He's going for GC. So if things start exploding, it's going to be really tough. And this is a steep climb. There's not a lot of tactics and not a lot of back and forth. It's just whoever has the legs.
Yeah, you just have to hang on. And a lot of teams have put all their eggs in one basket. BMC,
right?
They've done nothing. It's TJ.
Yeah, it's all TJ.
Radio Shack Nissan, they've done nothing. It's all Horner. So there's teams out there. Rabobank with Hastings. It's like everything falls on this last on the Mount Baldy stage. if these teams are going to come out. And of course, everybody can't come out with winning or winning the stage.
Right.
So there's going to be teams that come out of this race with absolutely nothing. And that's part of the gamble and the change in the way kind of teams have to do anything. You have to sacrifice everybody for one goal because the racing is so tough. I also want to mention congratulations for Salas for the KOM jersey. A big battle today.
Fantastic ride today.
He had to make the break. He got into the break, and that's not easy. He had to battle against Boyle from Spider Tech and ended up coming out on top.
And kudos to them too, because they got not one but two riders in the break. They also had Andy Bajadali in there, and those guys were able to tag team Wally a little bit, so that Bajadali would go, Wally would have to follow him, and then Salas would go. And then on one of those KOMs, Bajadali even came around and pipped Wally for the points, and so they're basically putting Wally further and further back on every one of those climbs. Really superb ride by him.
Yeah, but now we're at 7,000 feet, and I'm ready to get back down to sea level.
Yeah, this is Snow Summit. We're staying down at sea level.
Joe's getting dizzy.
Punchy. Anyway, that's Race Radio. Thanks for joining us.
You're like a rock there. Couldn't even move you. Look at that.
Oh, look at me.
You knew it was coming.
Balance.